Hey guys, Rukshan here. Thanks for joining me for this video. Now, this voice referendum that we're having in our country has become very divisive over the last week or so. Particularly yesterday, we saw some ugly scenes in Adelaide. I'm just going to play this video for you from Senator Alex Antic, and I'll just get to the context of that a little bit after that.
No. This is your Australia. Thank you, Labor government. Thanks for the unity.
Yeah, so as you can see, the Senator Alex Antic, he's at a no campaign event there in Adelaide, in front of the building there, walking in, I'm guessing, and you're seeing outside protested by people who support the yes side or who are against the no side. But, it's very clearly they're against what's happening inside that building where all these people who are in support of the no campaign are gathering to have an event, a conference about their plans and why they're voting no, and trying to get that movement happening in Adelaide, which is all fair go. During a referendum, people should be able to peacefully gather for political purposes without being interfered with. Now, in this instance, these hecklers, these protesters, they've turned up, and in my opinion, I feel like a lot of this comes down to a form of political intimidation. Now, this looks like a bunch of unhinged uni students, right? They look a bit extreme here. They probably need to have a shower. Maybe they look a bit nuts. They're not all there, and they're young. They probably understand a lot later in life how deranged they look at this moment and how wrong it is to participate in things like this type of intimidation. But it is what it is at the present point, and this is what these groups are doing now. This looks like it's been organized by the Socialist Alternative Adelaide. Again, the reason I'm bringing this up and showing you guys these people and what they're doing in terms of, again, my opinion, intimidation, is because over the weekend, the yes side had multiple rallies or walks throughout the entire country, tens of thousands of people. No one came there. Like, there was no coordinated campaign from a group that was supporting the no side that turned up to protest against them, to scare them, to intimidate them. It was all allowed to happen very peacefully. They had their politicians there from the Labor side. They had their celebrity singers. They had all the T-shirts and the placards that all looked the same. And they had their event, and it was very peaceful, and it was nice to see in terms of democracy occurring, regardless of which side of the fence you're on. That's how it should be. Now, when the no campaign gets together and holds an event or a rally or does these things, then that same respect should be afforded to them as well. But what we're seeing more and more is now, especially after yesterday, I think it's going to go in the other direction. I think you're going to see more of these crazies and loonies turn up to crash these events, to call these people, like they were calling Senator Alex Antic there, a racist dog, right? To call these people, they were using other terms that I can't even mention on these kind of platforms I'm on right now. Swearing, abusive language. Again, intimidation is what they're trying to do, and really call people out as being racist. Now, we've seen that even with people intricately involved in the Yes 23, a group who are running the Yes campaign, calling people racist or inferring that their views are racially tinged, or racism is involved in the things that they're saying. So now that's coming over onto the street where people, these uni students who I showed you, who are a bit, not all there possibly, are now acting out on this and being very abusive and aggressive on the streets. I think this stuff needs to stop. This kind of a behavior needs to be called out specifically. Now, I'm not saying that we haven't seen this type of behavior from the no camp as well. There has been individuals, at least, who have on the streets, annoyed people or abused people handing out pamphlets. All that stuff should be called out as well. You're always going to have crazies and loonies on both sides of the camp, but what we can't have is these coordinated efforts and attacks against people who are just practicing their peaceful and rightful duty to engage in political debate and discourse around a very respectable thing that we're doing, which is voting at this referendum. Now, many people didn't ask for this referendum, but it's been put to us by the Albanese government, and it's become very divisive. And now we have to deal with the consequences of all of this. But one of the things I wanted to also discuss with you was at the rallies that were held for the Yes Camp over the weekend. Lots of people came. One of the things you'll notice is, obviously, I'm not going to touch on the demographics here. You can see that for yourself, maybe when you look at the people that turned up there. There was a very distinct lack of Australian flags, of any flags, really. They had all these kind of very similar signs that they were handed out. Very little or no Australian flags at all. I've only seen a couple from a few rallies that were in Perth. But besides that, no Australian flags. Now, for a generous invitation, this modest request, something about unity and, Australia moving forward, it would be nice to see Australian flags and Aboriginal flags and Torres Strait Islander flags maybe side by side, if this is what this side truly believed in. But I think the lack of Australian flags in these type of marches really goes to show you what the future potentially holds if something like this does go through. Again, that is my opinion based on observing what I'm seeing here. But despite there not being any Australian flags, there was another interesting flag that you guys might recognize, and you can tell me what this flag is. But yeah, this is the flag that was seen a few times in different variations, CPA, and there's another one there. But yeah, this is all the Communist Party of Australia, the communism flag, the hammer and sickle, whatever you want to say. This is the Soviet, that era, the flag from that era. Whatever you want to term it as, this is that flag, okay? And this is what's being displayed at some of these protests. And also, interestingly, we had the Communist Party of Australia. CPA contingents around the country walked for Yes. Members and supporters are encouraged to register with the yes23.com.au for pre-polling and volunteering on the 14th of October. So the Communist Party of Australia, at least, is heavily involved in pushing the yes side of the vote. Now, there has been some observations made by people saying that other communists in this country support the no side. Whatever it is, but we can clearly see that there's communist flags here in the Yes rally walks that occurred. And this goes to this point from this bloke, Thomas Mayo, who's also involved heavily with the Yes 23 campaign, one of the architects. Let's have a listen to what Thomas Mayo had to say not that long ago.
And also to pay respects to the elders of the Communist Party, who I think, without a doubt, have played a very important role in our activism. This is the first step. It's a vital step. Pay the rent, for example. How do we do that in a way that is transparent and that it actually sees reparations and compensation to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people? The power in the voice is that it creates.
So yeah, this is their own words. I'm not going to comment on what they're saying. You can take from that what you will, but you heard them paying respects to the elders of the Communist Party. Speaking of communism, we also had Magda Sabansky that I did a video on yesterday, of course, saying that she wants to collect information, screenshots, and all sorts of other things on people who are either spreading misinformation, defamation, and lies. Accounts. She wants to know which accounts they're coming from for future reference. Now, she's being called out by a lot of people for this, including myself. But this is also another side of where this is going, where people can no longer freely discuss ideas, because as soon as you say something which challenges the yes side, you're labeled as someone who's spreading lies and disinformation. We famously, of course, saw that with the Uluru Statement from the Heart and how many pages long that was, right? One page. Was it 15? Was it 18? Who knows, right? That's what that became as. But because you debated that and because you showed different things and statements that were made by people from the yes side, all of a sudden they were accusing you of spreading misinformation and lying. It's just mind-blowing, crazy stuff. But in more probably devastating news for the yes side, even The Guardian now, their essential poll that they've been doing for a while, that poll now shows Indigenous voice no voters in majority for the first time. All right, these polls have been trending downwards for the yes side for like the last 2-3 weeks now, and it just doesn't get any better. It's hard to say exactly how they're going to see through this. And we're hearing about a $20 million advertising campaign that they're doing now. There's a lot of what I would say is elite money behind the Yes campaign, a lot of funding, a lot of advertising. Whether that will actually, bear fruit when it comes to the referendum day is yet to be seen. But the way that things are trending, the way that polls are trending, the way that the community sentiment is at the moment, it looks like the no side is up there and getting ahead. But as someone who is very openly advocating to vote against this referendum and vote no, I would say we still need to be on guard. We still need to get the message out there and continue to educate people on what this is actually about, because this is not what it's been made out to be. Anthony Albanese, particularly the government, who are talking about this as if it's something that we'll get all the major details on it later on. That's not good enough, right? We need to know some of these very specific things that are going to happen. It can't just be like, oh, well, it's going to be in the Constitution. We can't put all the details in the Constitution, which I agree with. You don't do that in the Constitution, but you need to provide at least some idea of what they're planning to do. That is why they're trying all these emotional tactics. That is why they're trying to call everyone a racist. That is why they're doing all these things which are unbecoming of a logical, peaceful, respectable debate. That is why all of these things are happening, because that's what they're hoping will get them past the line. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my videos. You can follow along with my work on YouTube, on X, on Instagram, on Rumble and Odyssey at The Real Rukshan, or you can go to my website, realrukshan.com. All my work shows up there as well, and you can also find ways to support me there and help me keep creating this type of content. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.